I was taking my 11-year-old puppy on a walk, and I was looking at the floor and seeing if I saw any other characters I could draw for you. I took pictures as I was walking and put them on my iPad to draw with you. The first one I saw was this big marmot holding a snowball, so I sketched it in. It was also standing behind something, like a poster or a board, giving a little cool scene. Very dynamic, in my opinion. I also colored it in, and I don't know about you, but coloring digitally is very strange to me. I'm not very good at using the color wheel. Like, it seems pretty random if I could get the exact color that I want. And I'm not very good at using the slider either. So for this, I just used a base color of brown, and I used the slider that would darken and lighten it to get the different shades of brown. But I'm still trying to figure out how to use color digitally. It seems less intuitive to me than using colored pencils, because at least you just have those colored pencils that you have, and that's the colors that you have. But I don't know. The color wheel is pretty infinite, and I just don't know how to navigate it. If you have any tips, I would love to hear them. I left the lines pretty sketchy to indicate fur, and I colored in the snowball so it popped more. But there you have it, the big marmot holding a snowball. Next, I saw this flat bear on the ground. Looked like it was just laying flat, kind of pancaking out. I tried to color it, but again, I wasn't getting the colors that I wanted. I couldn't really picture it. I don't know. The colors seemed too saturated, and I wasn't really sure what to do with it after playing around. I played around with different textures, lines that I could use, but I kind of left it at that for now. Oh, I also saw this really cool water splash. I decided to try to see how many characters would pop out at me from this one watermark. So the first one I got was this fox. Next, I rotated the image, and I saw this duck flying in the air, kind of jumping out. My pen stopped working at this point. My Apple Pencil wasn't working at this point. I don't know what it was. Like, maybe the nib just wasn't picking up what I was putting down, or something was wrong with the pencil. But I kept having to draw my lines over and over, and it wasn't really picking up what lines I was making. So it was kind of frustrating. But I finished it anyways. It was just a little bit of an annoyance. I also saw this alien bear right next to it. Kind of looks like a little fight scene. This Scooby alien bear with little antenna coming out. That's the second image I saw. I rotated around again, and I saw this flat squirrel lying on the ground, kind of pancaking out, sun tanning as they do when it's hot out. And this hand coming down and grabbing it. So it's kind of flailing around, not wanting to get grabbed. Since my Apple Pencil wasn't really working and coloring it in digitally wasn't working for me either, I put the line work of each of those images onto a new canvas, and I printed it out so I could color it in person. I don't know what you call that. Color it with pencils. I started off with a fox and gave it a bit of shading, a bit of patterning, for the coloration. I don't like how the tail line turned out. It wasn't really what I wanted because I don't really think a fox's coloring would be split up like that. But it's a imaginary fox, so that could be fine. I also thought that what I thought was originally going to be a pillow would look more fun as a plushie, so I started coloring that in, and I added shading to the bottom. I'm trying to just shade from imagination and not use reference on any of these to kind of, work on that skill of coming out with things from my imagination. So I added the little plushy face there, sleepy eyes, and a nose, and then added some lines for the stitching that would be on the plushy face. Then I added a peachy basey color for the plush. Next, I'm working on the flat pancake bear. I chose a tan color and added some patterning for the tail and little patterning on the paws. I know I'm coloring really lightly, but believe it or not, this is actually darker than I used to color. I'm pretty scared of coloring because it seems so final. You can't erase it, you can't change it after it's done. So I tend to get a little scared that if I go dark, then I won't be able to backtrack and change anything if I want to. So I have that fear. It's a fear of coloring, and I'm working on it. I know looking back on this, it's a lot lighter than I'd want it to be. So in the future, I hope that I'll be more confident in my coloring abilities and just going with whatever I feel like, challenging that need for perfectionism or that feeling that maybe I won't make something that's nice. I don't know. Creating doesn't have to be perfect. You learn from everything anyways. On to the flat squirrel getting grabbed by that invisible hand. I just shaded it in brown like most squirrels are. Guess there are gray squirrels, but this one's a brown squirrel. And I just made some parts darker for the shading. Then I decided to add a little flair to it with the little dots on the eyebrow. On to the Gooby alien bear. I used different patterning for this, went all wild and out of the box, using some stripes and dots and this weird alienish patterning. Yes, crazy, right? I also used this green color because I thought it was alien-y. And then for the duck, I just used a very bright yellow color, which didn't really come across that well, but it was kind of like a fluorescent duck for this alien scene. And I added even more green. There it is. Got the fox holding the plushie. The flat pancake bear lazying around. The flat squirrel getting grabbed, and the alien duck fight scene. I also saw this character that looked like it could be in the movie Cats in some cracks in the sidewalk. And I colored it again on Procreate. Just filling it in, trying to get my coloring skills up. And lastly, I saw this little, like a dog, just chilling on a rock. And that's the last character I have for you today. Okay, bye.